clearing one row instead of all three, I think weather's actually in a stronger position than it was before.
Yeah, I
I
definitely
would
agree with that.
disagree there. I would disagree there because
God.
I think remembering buffs is huge. It's so important, and having a clear skies. I mean, the only way you can counter clear skies is having more weather now, and I don't think, yeah, I would disagree. I think weather is in a kind of weaker spot now. It's just coming up a little bit more than last patch, and that's why it's a little more in the spotlight because it is played on the ladder quite a lot, and I think it's just back in that spot where it can win games on a decent amount. I mean, on a decent percentage level. But I don't think it's definitely a nerf to weather in my eyes because it. I mean, if you weather dwarves, basically you won the game. But now they just clear weather or something, and they still have it. They still have that chance. So I think it's a nerf.
I think HG3 you were coming out in support of weather.
Yeah, well, I mean, I talked about this swim a lot. Like the dual weathers is just super, super valuable now because they're the same as two first lights for you to clear it. So there's no efficient way to clear off multiple weathers off your board. So any faction that's occupying, more than just one space is going to have a tough time dealing with two weathers coming out. It's such a slow play maneuver to, two turns in a row use a first light to try and deal with weather. And then there's also the efficient weathers on top of it. So if I throw down like a white frost and you clear it and then Corinthia comes out, are you going to clear it again? Because then I'm getting momentum while you're retroactively trying to keep your green buffs alive in a meta where control is very heavy. So having a lot invested into green buffs isn't necessarily a good thing anyway. So it can definitely be an issue. And if you don't clear it, then those little chompers are going to come over and eat your life. Okay. So it's going to be tough.
Uh, you have a point, but okay, that's still. I mean, it's just. Remembering buffs enables archetypes like dwarves, for example, on its own, and I think that's important. It's an important change, in my opinion, because over-buffing units wasn't viable at all because you had a chance of weather monsters, but now you're not that scared of it anymore. I mean, still scared, of course, but it remembers, but it's huge. I love it. It's a good
Yeah, I have no
change.
problem with the remembering buffs. I think that's fine, and that probably had to be a
I,
change.
I think
But the
that's the
way
most
you
important
remove
change.
weather now is just too difficult, I think. Like it's kind of crazy to think that everyone has to include three first lights in your deck or two first lights in your deck, which in many matches can end up being, just lame rallies, which are pulling out cards that don't have value because you wanted to run a BMC for a Swim's deck or something, and you're pulling out a BMC on a dead board because you're stuck with way too many first lights. And stuff like that makes it a little bit less
Yeah,
exciting.
it's true.
Swim, I don't think we've heard your thoughts on the weather changes yet.
No, we have not. I have a few things to say. Um,
Uh-oh.
in regards to what HG3 was just saying, that it kind of sucks to have to include first lights, like at least like two first lights in basically every deck. I think that's a fine thing, and I think it's even a good thing. Um, I like the change, basically the overall change, which is clear skies is one row and it doesn't reset buffs anymore. I like that change. I think it's a step in the right direction. I do think it's a little incomplete. I think mass weather is a little bit too strong. I think every faction probably needs a card similar to Archgriffin or Skellige's. I think it's the Armor
Armor
Smith.
Smith, yeah.
Yeah, I think every faction should get something like that instead of getting Dennis Cranberry. And
They're
that's.
not a fan? Come on.
I mean it.
No. You tried out so many trash cards, Swim, to be honest.
Yeah,
I really
Cranberry is
pity
one
you.
of them.
Hmm. A moment of silence. No, let's
Oh,
not. Start.
But to counter Ruben's point though with the clear skies now remembering the buffs, my biggest thing why I think weather's in a stronger spot than it was before is you only can put a max of 3 clear skies. You take a deck like Weather Monsters, and you're running 3 Frosts on its own with Karenthir, a couple of the dual weathers. You might be running Dagon as well for a 4th. There just isn't enough clear skies to go around, I think, in order to. You're just going to get out weathered. And even if you do have enough clear skies, then it really comes down to card advantage again, which I think also got a pretty big change this patch, mostly because of the spies change. I think we'll get into that next. But my main concern with the weather is that it's still as powerful as it was before, and in some cases even more powerful. And I think the tools to counter the weather actually got nerfed more than probably they needed. I would be kind of happy to see clear skies as a clear 2 rows, maybe. Not sure how that would be implemented, but I do like the change in regards to especially in regards to Ragnarok, which I think it's still not the best gold card you can play, but whenever you're countering a gold card with a single bronze that most people are running anyway, kind of felt bad.
I yeah, but the thing is, the tactic with monster weather there, you say you don't have enough clear skies for every round, but monster weather sacrifices so many strength or numbers for that weather, for reducing your opponents, and you can totally see that in their numbers. They have low strength totals in their games. Um, y y I mean, you can totally counter that. I mean, you have some clear skies, but they have to keep weathering you down every turn. So they have 3 frost, but if you can win a few times, I mean, I don't know to what point I'm kind of getting here, but it's kind of the same. You don't have enough clear skies, but they kind of don't have enough weather constantly. Otherwise, weather would be too broken, in my opinion. But it's still working out for people. Also because of the limits of drawing all your stuff, of course. But their strength is so limited that it makes it balanced, and that's the only thing keeping it in check, I think.
All right, well, I think weather changes, mixed reviews. Still debatable then on if the changes were really more pro weather or anti weather.
I have one last thing to say.
Oh.
The silver weathers are kind of ridiculous because, I mean, it's just, bronzes are valued at, let's say, 8, and silvers are valued at, let's say, 10. And so you're looking at a 25% increase there. But in terms of the comparison of the bronze weathers to the silver weathers, you're getting, 100% increase. And it's it's a little too much, probably. That being said, I don't think the proper solution is to nerf the silver weathers. I think just adding more Archgriffin cards, or maybe possibly, like you were saying, have clear skies be able to clear 2 rows or something, would be fine.
Yeah, I'd see a clear or an Archgriffin working in Northern Realms for sure. Yeah, I agreed there. Silver weathers are much more than just in strength, but if you draw them last or in a vacuum, for example, they're worthless. So, they have their advantages, huge advantages, but also some disadvantages.
That's true.
Let's move on to our next topic. Card advantage has always been, I think, pretty darn important in Gwent. I don't think this patch really changed how the importance of card advantage or move advantage, depending on which how you want to phrase it. But I think it did see some big changes to the cards that help you get the card advantage or move advantage, namely to spies, namely to decoy. Let's just go ahead and go clockwise around the table. Ruben, thoughts on the spies changes and the decoy change?
I kind of like the decoy change, and I kind of don't like it because there's an extra spot for a cool silver now. Because decoy wasn't a cool silver; it was uninteresting. It was fucking good. It was really, really good, but it wasn't interesting, and it didn't make games more interesting necessarily. So I think it's good that it's not a must include anymore. As for spies, that's a big nerf. I mean, making Stennis a 12 and clear weather immune and Yavin too, and whatever the guy from Skellige is. I mean, that's huge. It's a big nerf, but it's still worth it. I mean, having the chance of move advantage, especially if your deck can kind of work around it, is too huge. I mean, there's you don't have to win every round, so you can work around that, and spies work great with that. Oh, and Avalak is OP now.
HG3, your thoughts on the changes?
I think I think the changes are interesting. I mean, we do see games where people aren't getting through 100% of their cards now, which is, probably a little bit more exciting because there's some. It's not just have the best plan and execute it, with reliable certainty. So I think the spy changes are like okay in that regard, and it makes you have to decide like how am I gonna fit this in, what situation am I gonna fit this in. But since we're in like a removal meta, obviously most people haven't been pushed away from playing their spies as much as they may have if we didn't go into like a removal control kind of meta right after the patch. But that was just the way things were trending anyway. So I think moving forward in like future iterations of the game, it could be really interesting because spies could almost be like dismissed at some point depending on how things go, because they are big swings to offer up to your opponent if you don't have a round in hand, which isn't always a certainty. It's why sometimes playing as Nilfgaard can be hard if people are blocking off your options at efficiently playing your spies. And decoys changes, I think, are fine. I think having it as an auto include.
Harold the Cripple makes a change from all the Radovid decks we've played. I don't know how well we'll do against this, but we shall give it a go. So we literally mulliganed away three witches. Very good. I think that's a bad use of that, actually. I think going into these got multiple ones. Playing that and then D-bombing is a better use, isn't it? I think we passed there. I feel that's a really good pass. We're on equal cards and we're 14 up, and it's the round one against Skellige. Surely he has to play 2 cards there. Okay, so what one card do we want to throw back? I think we throw back that.
The revolution is inevitable, merely a matter of time.
Do we want Zarthesius here, or do we want Skellige Storm? I think we actually want the Storm.
You crossed the wrong sorceress!
See, we could pass again.
No one can hide from me.
Keep the Storm.
Modron Freyr is patient, but she brooks no insult.
Okay. We've got to push quite hard here. We've got to push hard because we're playing Skellige. Passing early here is not good, not when you've got that guy as a hero power. Kind of want to make him use heals, don't we?
Give him no rest, no reprieve.
Yeah, we want to make him use heals. So we want to play this on him. Or her, as we should call her.
You stand before the Queen of Skellige.
So we are gonna kill her because he'll need to use either Priscilla or he'll need to use
We serve her who is virgin, mother, and crone.
Okay. I'm not too worried about any of this stuff so far, to be honest. Just keep thinning the deck. And we've got D-bomb and we've got this. Nothing here is immune to frost. That whale's a bit annoying, especially when it lands there. Not gonna lie. So now we've done quite a bit of thinning, haven't we? So we could try and get Zartesis.
All battles need end in bloodshed.
Take the lightning. And kill that.
Who wants to taste Skellige steel? Order will triumph. It must triumph.
What other gold do we think he's got? Coral? Gigny? Now, do we could just save all this for the last round, to be fair. It's a pretty powerful last round, isn't it? Okay, if we weather now, I'm not sure what these guys go to. Because it's like 3 guys that go down. They lose 15. I think we just pass now. I'm not sure if it's right to play the D-bomb. I think it was. What did we force him to play by playing D-bomb? What did he play last? Wily, right? I mean, we want to keep all of those. That's a really good hand. We're going to keep all of those. We've thinned the deck really well. And we should definitely be able to pull a Witcher. We'll be so unlucky if we don't pull a Witcher from this. Like, seriously unlucky.
Come on, let's go. Time to face our fears.
There will be rain or frost, perhaps.
I think we can get rid of that, actually. Only got 5 cards left in these decks. There's some good thing in there, hasn't it?
Who do I spy?
I think we need to play the weather as the last card. So it's going to go Geralt into Kahir. Yeah, Geralt into Kahir, into weather, into this guy.
Here's to better loot than in your wildest, wettest dreams!
If that was Blizzard Potion, we would be screwed right now. But hey ho.
As you wish.
So we've got the 0.5 card advantage. Don't you dare.
Get this over with.
Give me value, baby. So now we play this. And then we play a Witcher.
Peace you desire. Prepare for
Kaboom! We got him! I love this deck, boys. I love this deck. Awesome game. So there you go, guys. You've seen a little bit more gameplay with the deck. We played against Skellige deck that time. So even though the deck was designed to play a Radovid Control, it still works quite well. Obviously there we played one of the meta decks in the Axeman Skellige deck, so it's doing pretty good. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit subscribe and follow me on Twitter at www.twitter.com/bjthebrave. I don't know. The handle is bjthebrave Gwent. Capitals for Gwent. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers.